Every so often something happens in the market that seems, well, tiny, almost insignificant. But when you look closer, you realize it's about to cause these massive ripples. We're going to unpack one of those moments today, a quiet move in the crypto world that could fundamentally change the entire game for investors.
So let me ask you this. Can a crypto stock actually pay you just for holding it? For years, the answer to that question was a hard no. No way. Crypto was all about that explosive, volatile growth, right? Chasing the next big story. It was never about predictable income. That just wasn't in its DNA. Well, it looks like one company just completely flipped the script on that.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll start with what I'm calling the 1 cent revolution, then dive into the new financial model it's creating. We'll see how it's bridging the gap to Wall Street, and we'll look under the hood at the engine that's powering all of this. And then we'll get to the big stuff, the trillions in capital this could unlock, and what it all means for the future. All right, first up, the 1 cent revolution. And I really want you to get this part because the whole story hinges on it. It is not about the amount of money. It's about what a single tiny penny can represent. And there it is, 1 cent, just a single penny per share. It's from a company called BitMine, ticker BMNR. Now, what they are is what's known as a pure crypto treasury company. Basically, that just means their main asset, it's just a huge pile of cryptocurrency. And they just did something that no company like them has ever done before. They announced a real, actual cash dividend. Look, this is so much more than just a tiny payout. It's a declaration. It's a signal flare to the entire market. It says, hey, we have stable, audited cash reserves. It screams financial discipline. And maybe most importantly, it shows this absolute, rock-solid confidence in their future earnings. So what this move is really doing is creating a brand new financial model. BitMine is basically carving out its own unique path, right in the middle of two worlds, the super speculative crypto world and the world of those cash-hoarding tech giants we all know. And this chart here, it just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got your typical crypto miners. They have a super high burn rate. They're constantly spending a ton on hardware and electricity, so dividends, forget about it. On the other side, you've got big tech, just sitting on mountains of cash, maybe doing some stock buybacks. And then there's BitMine, doing something totally different, using their main asset to create sustainable cash flow and giving it right back to the people who own the stock. And this is so crucial because what this new model really does is build a bridge, a desperately needed bridge between two financial universes that, let's be honest, have been operating on completely different planets up until now. Think about it. You've got Wall Street over here, right? They value predictable income, dividends, stability, tons of rules. And then you have the crypto world, which just thrives on innovation, massive growth potential, and these wild speculative stories. They speak completely different languages. They attract totally different people. And that one little penny, that's the handshake. It's the thing that connects them. BMR is basically creating something new by merging these two mindsets. You get a regulated stock that pays you income, but it's backed by a high-growth digital asset. It really is the best of both worlds. Okay, so right about now, you're probably asking how in the world can they actually afford to do this when nobody else has? Well, the answer is in their business model, and more specifically, it's all about their massive treasury. So let's just talk about the scale here for a second. The company has built this absolutely enormous treasury. We're talking over $13 billion. This is not some small-time operation. It's basically a financial fortress built entirely on digital assets. And the crown jewel of that fortress, a staggering 4.066 million Ethereum tokens. Now, to put that into perspective for you, that's almost 3.5% of the entire supply of Ethereum in existence. They are one of the biggest single holders on the entire planet. So the big question is, how do you turn that giant pile of digital currency into actual cash? Well, it's through this really elegant and simple process called staking. Instead of mining, which burns a ton of energy, they just use their existing Ethereum to help secure the network. And for doing that, the network itself basically pays them rewards. It's like earning interest, and it turns their static pile of assets into a predictable cash-generating machine. And the scale of this revenue engine, it's just immense. Once they're fully up and running in 2026, it's estimated to crank out over $420 million in revenue. Every single year, this isn't a one-time thing. It's a recurring, predictable stream of cash that can easily fund that dividend and probably grow it for years and years to come. So let's zoom out for a second.
what does all of this actually mean for the future? Well, this dividend does way more than just pay out a little bit of income. It's the key that unlocks a previously inaccessible, just an ocean of capital. And right here, this is the real game changer. A lot of the world's biggest funds, I'm talking about massive pension funds, university endowments, the really big money, they have rules written into their charters that legally stop them from buying any stock that doesn't pay a dividend. It's a hard and fast rule. So by paying even 1 cent, BNMR suddenly becomes eligible for all of that capital. They just crossed a line that no other crypto company could.
And look, don't just take my word for it. Wall Street is already paying very close attention. Analysts at Goldman Sachs put it perfectly. They called it a sign of maturity that puts BMNR into a completely new, much more serious category of investment. And finally, it's so important to see that this dividend isn't just a one-time gimmick. It's the opening move. It's the first step in a much bigger plan to build something that lasts, a permanent financial institution. This first payout really is just the kickoff. It sets the stage for a whole series of big events coming down the pike. You've got the dividend record date, a shareholder vote, and then the big one. Their validator network goes live. And soon after that, we'll see the first revenue reports from all that staking. See, this first step is all about building credibility and momentum for everything that's coming next. And I think this quote from BitMain's own CEO just nails it. He said, "In an industry famous for volatility, BMNR is planting a flag to build something real, structural, and permanent. In a space where things can disappear overnight, they're signaling they are here to stay. They're not just another speculative bet." And that really brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? Is this the moment? Is this the moment the entire digital asset industry finally starts to grow up? People have been asking for years when crypto would mature and build those bridges to the mainstream. And, with this one little move, we might just have our answer.